Today I am going to show you my physical media collection. I've collected physical media throughout my whole life. I still have VHS tapes from my childhood, but I really started to build up my DVD collection when I was probably around 11, 12. My all-time favourite thing to do was to go down to Blockbusters. A big part of my collection that I have nowadays is literally still the DVDs I had from when I was younger. If they are from Blockbusters or other rental stores from my childhood, then I usually do try to preserve the stickers on them. Growing up, I spent all of my pocket money on DVDs, especially horror DVDs. I just fell in love with horror from such a young age. I grew up with family members that also really loved horror, so the horror channel was often on in the background. So I would see snippets of older films, especially 80s horror films, a lot of Friday the 13th, a lot of Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. I became so fascinated with them and it just started my complete obsession with horror. I am also somebody who loves to collect things. Obviously, when I first started my DVD collection growing up, there was no streaming services, so we just basically had to rely on physical media. We either rented it from a store like Blockbuster or we just owned the DVDs, which meant we didn't always have loads of choice. Of course, we still had TV where they would play films occasionally, but it's not like we could choose what was played on those channels. So there wasn't tons of choice growing up. You basically just watched what you had in your collection. So it resulted in a lot of rewatches. I feel like that is what stemmed some of my obsessions, especially with like Gremlins. I would watch it over and over again. Saying that, I have now accumulated a lot of DVDs, hundreds of DVDs. I do also have some Blu-rays, mainly Arrow ones. I have some VHS tapes and I also have some Steelbooks. I'll start with the things that I have the least of because when I get into DVDs, I have so many of them, so it will probably be the longest part of this video. Starting off with VHS tapes, I have a mix of ones that I had when I was younger and ones that I have recently brought. In the UK, it is very uncommon to find paper cases for VHS tapes. I luckily found some of them on eBay, but I'm not even sure if it was ever a UK thing. But in the UK, we basically just mainly had these clamshell plastic cases. Some were my family's and they were passed on to me. Some were from my childhood. I do have a few more from my childhood up the loft, but ones I've bought recently, I mainly have bought them on eBay. Other than one of them I did get off of Vinted. It was kindly gifted to me, but I did pay postage. This is a remake of The Haunting. I absolutely love how this looks. I love the iridescence of the case. I do hope to build up my VHS collection a lot more. It is quite hard to find tapes in the UK because we don't really have any tape shops. Even in the charity shops, they just don't sell tapes, so you either get them online or maybe get lucky at a car boot sale. If anybody knows anywhere, any shops or anything that you can go into in the UK that sell VHS tapes, then please let me know because I really want to go there. I play my tapes on this little TV that has a built-in VHS player. It was kindly gifted from one of my friends. I was looking for one, going around charity shops and asking on Facebook Marketplace, trying to find one to buy, but it turns out my friend just had one sitting in her house unused, so she gave it to me, which was so kind of her. It's really similar to the TV that I had growing up, so that's really cool. I also hook up my PlayStation 2 to this TV as well, which is super nostalgic because I spent so much of my childhood playing my PlayStation games on a TV like this. So with Blu-rays, I only have a very small amount. I'm not actually a massive fan of how Blu-rays look, as in the cases. I'm not a fan of how they are smaller, and especially the ones that actually have the blue on the outside. It can really clash with the posters. The ones that I have either a black or a white outer instead of the blue because I just feel like it looks a lot better, and these are all Arrow ones. I grew up with DVDs, so it is just my personal preference to really prefer how they look. I also have a very small Steelbook collection. I'm not planning on having a massive Steelbook collection. I do think some of them are really cool, especially when they have exclusive artwork on them. So 3 of these were actually gifted from Rare Waves. I did collaborations with them on Instagram. Cabin in the Woods I found on Vinted for a really good price. I absolutely love the colours of this one. It is a anniversary edition of The Wicker Man. I also have Talk to Me, which is one of my all-time favourite films. I do wish the artwork was a bit more interesting on this one, but I am just really grateful and happy that I own this. And then we have Scream 6. I really like the artwork on this one as well. Moving on to DVDs, I don't even know where to start because I have so many. I haven't actually got these in any particular order at the moment. It is absolute chaos. I used to have them all in alphabetical order, but that was when they were all in one place, and now I have them in multiple locations because they don't really all fit in one place. I got a shelving unit for some of them because I wanted to actually be able to display them and not just have them piled on shelves. So the ones I have down here are some that are either my favourites, some that I've used recently in stacks, and ones that I may have recently watched or plan on watching soon. I have more on shelves that are just kind of not in any particular order. That is chaos that needs to be sorted out, but I'm not really sure where to even start with sorting it out. When I'm looking for a certain DVD, honestly, I can never find it. I've actually had to resort to taking a picture of my shelf and then searching my photos for the film name so it comes up so I can actually just find it in real life. I do eventually want all of my DVDs to be in shelves like this, but I don't currently have the space for it. So what I'll do is I'll make up a few stacks now to show you some of my DVD collection, because there's no way I can sit here and go through all of them because there literally are hundreds. So I have a few franchises in there full, and I have some that are still missing a few DVDs. I do buy most of my DVDs second hand, so it can be hard to complete collections, especially because I try not to spend too much. I do get a lot of my DVDs in charity shops, a lot from eBay. There is a eBay seller called World of Books, and there is some similar as well, and you can get them for really decent prices. I do look in CEX, that is a second-hand physical media and technology shop. I do love that shop. I have purchased quite a few DVDs from there, especially in their pound section, which is so worth it. I've also found steelbooks in there for friends at really decent prices, but I do find some DVDs that they have can be priced a little bit high. It's definitely worth having a look, shopping around if you are trying to save money and don't have a massive budget. Here are some stacks of my favourite DVDs. There are still so many DVDs that I want to collect, and of course there are so many films that have recently come out that I love that I am just waiting for them to kind of go down in price a little bit or to find them cheaper second hand. I do also really love shops like HMV, especially because they have physical stores, so you can go in there and look through all of their DVDs. HMV do also have online, and they often have deals so you can get money off as well. I also love stores like Rare Waves, which are more of an independent place to get physical media, which is super important to support because we want to keep physical media stores alive. They also stock some incredible limited edition copies and collector's editions. These are a few DVDs that I absolutely love the artwork of. I love the posters of these ones. And here are some DVDs of some lesser known films. And this copy of The Walking Dead is honestly one of my prized possessions. Found it in a charity shop and got it for so cheap. I can't find this edition online, but I just think it is so cool and unique. I'm going to end the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I can do more physical media content if you are interested. And as always, I'll see you again soon.